Welcome to Fearen Reacts. I got a lot of stories of aliens landing in Mexico, motherships, and I got a live interrogation of an alien. So, without further ado, let's get to the video.
The film that you are about to see is jaw-dropping, and it was passed over by the New York Times. The New York Times had an opportunity to run the story, and they didn't. We're going to show you this unbelievable film in just a moment. But what's more astonishing, however, might be the cover-up and the secrecy of this top-secret film. My guest today is Jon Stewart, former candidate for Illinois governor in U.S. Congress. He spent more than 5 years investigating, proving the provenance of this alleged film, this top-secret film, which we're about to show you, and which you are about to see. And it purportedly shows an alien, an extraterrestrial, biological entity being interrogated at the S2 facility in 1997 by members of the U.S. military. Yes, an alien creature being interrogated by members of the U.S. military. Just a few weeks ago, our guest Jon Stewart hand-delivered his entire investigation to Congressman Tim Burchett's office, and he's become the first non-government civilian to submit a report to the United States Congress regarding the extraterrestrial phenomenon. Jon, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you here on Redacted.
Like most people back in 1997, this was part of, or this was a documentary that came out. I go to sit down and watch this documentary thinking alien interview. This is going to be like a weird humanoid-looking person handing a clipboard over to a general at the Pentagon for a job interview. I mean, this is how my brain was thinking, and I'm sitting down, and 30 minutes into this documentary, this footage comes on. It's not professionally done. It doesn't have any cuts. There's people in the foreshadow. This gray alien is bone color. Bone, like human bone. It's got round eyes, not almond-shaped eyes. If I'm posting a video of a gray alien, it's going to be gray, and it's going to have the typical almond eyes. And this bizarre physiological monitor next to the beam that goes up and down and not across the screen. And then Victor, the alleged whistleblower who claimed to have helped smuggle this out of Area 51, that's the way insiders talk of Area 51. And I don't think a 23-year-old screenwriter in 96 could have made up this script that Victor was talking about. I mean, the vernacular he used was bizarre. And he used a term called medical flagging. The creature starts to medically flag. And I asked my old doctor, who was about 65 years old at the time in 97, on my annual checkup, I said, what is medically flagging? He looked at me and he goes, where did you hear that from? That's like a Army medical term we used in the 50s and 60s. I'm like, wait a minute, what is going on here? And then there was some weird, an acronym on the bottom, DNI, David November Igloo, /27. And Victor tells us that was the Department of Naval Intelligence. So I run for Congress 2 years later with this film in the back of my mind going, what is going on here? And I don't want to say his name anymore because I'm getting admonished for doing so, but I was on a political bus tour, and I went up to a senator during a break who has passed away now. And I said, Senator, what is the Department of Naval Intelligence? And Clayton, you look in my eyes. This guy went from jovial, happy senator to this aggressive look. And he looked at me and he goes, you don't need to know anything about that. And he stormed off and he never talked to me the rest of the tour. Clayton, you're a journalist, you're an investigative reporter too. I'm thinking, wait a minute. I got a hoaxed video with medical terminology from the 50s and 60s. I've got a gray alien that's tan and round eyes, medical staff that are in short sleeve scrubs, and not in biohazard suits to really hype up the video. I've got a monitor that I have never seen in 35 years of my life back then. And I've got 3 letters on this hoaxed video that has just pissed off a United States senator. What in God's name is going on with this film?
So here it is. This is, again, it's silence. There's no audio on this. What are we looking at here as we play this film? What are we seeing on our screen, Jon?
Okay. Contrary to Victor's voiceover, this is a film shot April of 1991, a thought projection interview of a other gray, designated an other gray, an extraterrestrial biological entity, He is a haploid, which means he came with only one sexual chromosome. Human beings are diploids. For any microbiologists out there, if I'm hatcheting those words, I'm sorry. But this being had only one sexual chromosome. He came to the S2 alpha, the official designation of the underground facility that housed the Alien Interagation and Retention Program. That's the unofficial name of what this was. They call these interview suites the ambassador suites because the government did try for the care and did treat these and look at these beings and still do as ambassadors from other planets and other dimensions. And if you hear David Grush coughing on his words, it's because he doesn't want to tell you that some of these beings are from other dimensions. And though this being was very ill at the time, he had a respiratory issue. Now, Sean David Morton also heard, I can't verify this veracity, that it had some sort of debilitation or disease with its heart-lung sac. It does not have a traditional heart. It's got a heart-lung one sac, which was the need for the special monitor, which goes up and down, does not go across, to monitor this bizarre heart-lung one sac organ that the alien has. And behind the viewing glass were 5 men, 2 telepaths. There is a researcher out there, but that's how bizarre this film has gotten. And I'm not even going to tell you anything about the telepaths because I don't want to get into the Da Vinci Code. But even Doty said that the telepathic program, the people they hired, was ridiculous. They were like one step above 1-800 psychics back in the 80s and 90s. But there was 2 men in particular that were very in touch with these beings, and they would sit down with these aliens and these beings and immediately get information and relate it back to whatever military person was in the room. As you can see on the tape, the being eventually starts to medically flag, if I can use the whistleblower Victor's terminology, and he is then attended to by the medical staff. And Victor tells us that the medical staff in S2 and S4, are more chosen for their ability to keep secrets than their medical knowledge. And again, I have been in contact. I have the names of the 2 doctors that are going to be on either side of this being. On the bottom, you're going to see DNI/27. That is the Department of Naval Intelligence. According to Richard Doty, there's like a conga line of different agencies waiting to insert their questions to this being in the 2-hour-long interview. The interviews are conducted about once a month.
What did you start to piece together from people who were in the room? And so when we say hoax video, I think you're saying that was what the assumption you had going into this, that this was hoax, that was sort of the media speculation about this. Now you've proven and taken it to the United States Congress, which, by the way, they're about to hold a hearing on this next week. And I think this is, if I'm not mistaken, going to be a big piece of this. And other whistleblowers are now confirmed to be coming forward to Congress next week. Civilian whistleblowers who are going to be testifying of the things that they've been a part of and seen.
Like Linda Moulton Howell told me when she saw the list, you have gold here. Why? No one has ever heard of these people before. And like Linda said, and these people are on Google and are real. And I said, yeah, they are. And she said, you got gold here. And so I got the list of names, but I know investigative journalism. That wasn't just enough just to have the names. I mean, come on, that's ridiculous. So I started to vet every single person on the list. The first person was retired, working for TRW, and TRW. These are the men, by the way, who were behind the glass in the viewing gallery, watching this thought projection interview. That's what it's called. It's not telepathy. It's actually called thought projection. And the first one worked for TRW, and I said, well, this is a hoax. He wasn't even in the military. Sean David Morton, who was in the office of the production company, who first got the call from Victor saying, I got this VHS tape of an alien, said, no, TRW is like hand in hand with the government. They do every kind of secret project and whatnot. I said, wow. And Doty said that it was not filmed in S4. There are no alien housing there. The alien housing is in S2 Alpha. I'm like, what's S2 Alpha? He sent me a satellite photo of it and said, that's what it is. It's called the Alien Retention Program. This being was brought in on a part of Project House. Doty's like, I don't know the provenance of the being, but I think it was from the Kalahari crash where 2 beings were recovered. But the alien program, whether that be the retention, the interrogation, the biological reverse engineering of craft, that all is now taking place at Michael's airfield at the Dugway Proving Grounds. the program to interview the beings in S2 was called Project Aquarius, which was basically all things about aliens in contact with human beings. And that is from the email, and that is also from Richard Doty's mouth, who's verified as the counterintelligence agent who is in his 70s and wants to tell the story, the truth of what's going on, what the government is covering up.
Mais. Será que explodiu algum avião? Tá caindo pedaço? Olha, olha, tá saindo do céu. Olha, tá saindo do céu.
Breaking news tonight, multiple videos from Nairobi, Kenya show a mysterious light hovering silently over the city. Authorities have yet to comment, but witnesses describe the object as bright, fast, and completely silent.
Multiple residents in Nairobi, Kenya have reported seeing a bright, silent light moving across the night sky. Several videos recorded from different parts of the city appear to show the same object, hovering completely still for several seconds, before accelerating away at incredible speed. Authorities have not released an official statement, but witnesses described the light as unlike anything they've ever seen. Here's what one of them told us.
I don't know what it was. It just appeared in the sky. No sound, nothing.
Local officials and aviation experts are still analyzing the footage, but so far, no clear explanation has been given. We'll continue to monitor this story and update you as soon as more information becomes available.
That was, it just shot up into the sky. It's behind the cloud now. Oh, there it is. What in the world? I don't know. It's like fire. I don't know. Give us a There it is. Oh, wow. It just came through like a door. It shapeshifted into that. It's like fire colored. I'm not sure what this is. It sat in the sky in a circle. It sat in the sky like a circle or a door, and then it started shooting up, and it looks like it's made a hot pink fire. Especially the way that went up over here, it looked really hot.
What the fuck is that?
En el cielo eso verde, ¿qué era eso? ¿Qué era eso ahí? Fuck no, son. It's hello. They're coming to get me up. Second time I've seen something like this. I swear to God it is. I swear it is. That's them. They how they moving around and shit, they talking to us. I swear to God. Yo, look at that shit. Look at that shit. Look how slow they moving. It's almost over, y'all. Y'all see this shit right here on live in the fucking sky. It ain't no motherfucking helicopters and none of that.
What the fuck is this shit, bro? What the fuck is this shit? Why are they over a cemetery? Hey, y'all better get right with God, man. Y'all get right with God, bro. Oh my God, the cops are down there saying go back to your house, bro. Yes, come here. Look at this shit. The cops are down here saying we have to go back to our houses because they don't want us to film it. Yo, something big is finna fucking happen, bro. Guys, this is me filming. This is not Photoshop.
Two-Piece, it's a UFO for real. No, we not making this shit up. Look at her, she gonna put It's a UFO for real, y'all. That is crazy. Y'all, that's crazy. It's a UFO for real, y'all. I promise y'all. Look, we got all these people. There ain't no damn street light. My uncle talking about that street light. That ain't no street light, bro. That's a UFO. This a fucking street light right here. This a fucking street light. That ain't no fucking street light.
It's no joke. So, whatever the other stuff I was looking at is way different from this. Because this is not emitting like a strong light. And this is the same thing I got like 4 of back to back last night. I posted one, I still got like 3 or 4 more to post. But this is like a real UAP, guys. This is not emitting like a strong light like all the other big things in the sky, stars, drones, satellites, whatever. It's going on went over my house. But yeah, that's real, guys. That's real. It's not a star, that's not a drone, that's not anything that we have made, I'm pretty sure. That's UAP, UFO, NHI, government cover up. I mean, maybe it's reverse engineered, I don't know. But one thing I can tell you is it's not normal, it's up there, it's real, and that's the stuff that everyone is acting like it's not real. Look at this. Got another thing moving right here. What's this? Bam. see how the light doesn't, like, it doesn't change all different colors on these? Like, it's doing something, you can see, but it's not really, like, real colorful like the other ones. So I think these are the more legit ones, the ones that don't shine different colors. I really want to say, even though I hate to say this because it's like a big claim on debunking, but I'm almost certain that the ones that are like shining different colors like that, those are maybe drones. Maybe. I think it's the light of the drone hitting the camera, and because it's not a mirrorless camera, it's causing like light refractions and all different types of stuff. But this stuff right here, that's real. I don't know what that is, or UAP something.
The location of the Ark of the Covenant is a mystery that has endured for over 2,000 years, and that's plenty of time for the introduction of confusion and contradiction. Even the Bible has the Ark behaving differently at different times. It acted like a high-voltage capacitor that electrocuted Uzzah when he touched it. It was more like a heat ray that boiled away water when the Hebrews crossed the River Jordan. Then it was a powerful sonic weapon when it brought down the walls of Jericho.
When the walls come tumbling down, when the walls come crumbling when the walls come tumbling down, tumbling down.
Now maybe it's all those things, depending on what's needed in the moment. But then the question becomes, what was the power source? If people near the Ark really did break out into tumors and boils and cataracts
And hemorrhoids.
What
did I say?
If that's true, it sounds like the Ark housed an intensely radioactive device. A device that could be tuned to specific functions, including use as a weapon. But if that's true, where did Moses get it? And how did this technology exist thousands of years ago? It's been suggested that maybe the tablets containing the Ten Commandments were made of uranium, which exists in vast quantities in the deserts of the Middle East. But even if they were, raw uranium ore isn't dangerous. Only when it's refined is the radiation harmful. And I don't think it's controversial to say that the Israelites didn't have centrifuges and uranium enrichment technologies. Now, about the cataracts developed by the priests in Ethiopia. Cataracts can be developed 1 or 2 years after high radiation exposure, that's true. But it's also true that people who live at high altitudes are at greater risk of cataracts. The thinner atmosphere offers less protection from the sun's harmful rays, which damage the eyes. The city of Axum, where the Ark is supposedly housed, is almost 7,000 feet above sea level, making it one of the highest altitude cities in the world. And there are other problems with the Ethiopian claim. Edward Uhlendorf was a professor of Ethiopian studies at the University of London, and he said in a 1992 interview that he personally saw the Ark held within the church at Axum. This was in 1941 while he was serving as an officer in the British Army. He said they have a wooden box. It wasn't ancient, and it certainly wasn't the original Ark. Every Christian church in Ethiopia has a replica of the Ark of the Covenant, as do many churches around the world. Professor Uhlendorf assumed that the Ark at Axum is nothing more than one of these replicas. But the professor didn't provide any proof that he actually saw the Ark. So, like many stories about the Ark of the Covenant, we have nothing to go on but the word of the person telling the story. The story of the Knights Templar hiding the Ark at Rosslyn Chapel in Scotland is one of my favorites. But the chapel wasn't built until 1446, almost 150 years after the Templars were disbanded. Now, defenders of the Rosslyn story will say that the Ark was kept somewhere else until the chapel was built. Then it was placed there. Now, that's fine, it's still a great story, but there's no proof of any of that. Locations like Oak Island, the Vatican, Ireland, and other alleged hiding places of the Ark are just stories. Now, I'm not saying that they're wrong, but there's no hard evidence to support any of those locations. The mainstream view is that the Ark probably existed. Remember we talked about the menorah, which was created at the same time as the Ark? Well, in 70 AD, Emperor Titus of Rome marched on Jerusalem, and after a 5-month siege, the Roman soldiers breached the walls and poured into the city. The soldiers looted and burned everything in sight, including the Second Temple. Titus was hailed as a conquering hero, and a monument was built in his honor, the Arch of Titus, which still stands, depicting the spoils of war carried off from the temple in Jerusalem. Among the spoils is the menorah. Now, some have claimed that the other object being carried by the soldiers is the Ark, but it's not. That's the table of showbread, also known as the table of the presence. And this was a large table made of acacia wood overlaid with gold. And on the table were placed 12 loaves of bread that were replaced every Sabbath. What's interesting about the table is God gave Moses instructions to build it. At the same time, he gave instructions to build the menorah and the Ark of the Covenant. And all those objects were stored in the same place, the Holy of Holies in the Temple of Jerusalem. If the Ark was looted, it would have been depicted on the arch. The Romans knew how important the Ark was to the Hebrews. They would have wanted to steal it to humiliate the Jewish people. So why wasn't the Ark there when Titus invaded? Most scholars believe it was taken by the Babylonians in 587 BC, but there's no proof of this. The Babylonians kept lists of everything stolen from Jerusalem, and the Ark wasn't on any of the lists. So if the Ark of the Covenant still exists, the most logical place for it to be is in a cave or tunnel hidden somewhere deep under the Temple Mount. But permission to dig will likely never be granted. The site is considered sacred by Jews, Christians, and Muslims, and any damage to the site would be seen as an affront to these religions, or worse, a provocation. But maybe that's for the best. Zechariah was a prophet who lived during the time of the Second Temple in Jerusalem, and many of his prophecies are related to the return of the Ark of the Covenant. And the return of the Ark is also mentioned in Revelation.
Then God's temple in heaven was opened, and within his temple was seen the Ark of his covenant. And there came flashes of lightning, rumblings, peals of thunder, an earthquake, and a great hailstorm.
The return of the Ark happens at the end of the world. Now that might sound dramatic, but think about what would happen if the Ark was discovered by Muslims, or if it was discovered by Jews, or by Christians. What people would be the best stewards of the Ark? Everyone would want it, but whose decision is that to make? The discovery of the Ark could be the spark that ignites war in the region, which could possibly escalate to World War III. And the next thing you know, the end-time prophecies are coming true. Now, I'm fascinated by the Ark, and I'd love to know where it is. But for now, the location of the Ark of the Covenant remains a mystery. And for all our sakes, let's hope it stays that way.
What in the world? I'm getting it.
It's just sitting there. It's
Look at the
not a
lights.
plane.
They're going around it.
Oh my God.
It's moving. Whoa, it's going up.
I got chills.
Science fiction writers have been using wormholes as a plot device forever. They're a quick way to get to a distant location without going faster than the speed of light. Albert Einstein and other physicists have been pondering wormholes for 100 years, and wormholes were purely theoretical. There hasn't been physical evidence they actually exist, until now. In March of 2021, 2 studies were published that suggest wormholes could exist and are safe enough for humans to travel through. One paper discusses microscopic wormholes. Obviously, we can't travel through one of those, but it's a start. The second paper does explore the idea that large wormholes do exist and are safe for human travel. It wouldn't be a breeze, though. When you cross the threshold into the wormhole, you'll accelerate up to 20 Gs. Now that's uncomfortable, but it is survivable. The human body doesn't like sustained G-forces. Most people lose consciousness at around 5 Gs. Trained fighter pilots can tolerate up to 9 Gs or more with special equipment. But for a short duration, the human body can handle about 40 Gs, like during a car crash. Higher G-forces usually cause injury or death, but if a wormhole is accelerating us at 20 Gs in less than a second, we can handle it. And this research says that all that's needed to cross the galaxy or beyond is a fraction of a second through a wormhole. And the researchers think they know how to create an artificial wormhole, but it's still just a theory. But the math checks out. But there is a catch. Time flows faster in higher gravity. Clocks on satellites have to be adjusted occasionally because gravity is weaker in space. That's the catch. Your trip through the wormhole would be a fraction of a second. But say goodbye to your family and friends because, from their perspective, your trip through the wormhole took 100,000 years. Yeah, so traveling through a wormhole is possible, but not very practical. At least, not yet. But it is possible that we can catch glimpses of other realities without a wormhole. Consider the Mandela effect. This is a phenomenon where a large number of people share a belief of something that never happened. It gets its name from Nelson Mandela because many people remembered him dying in prison during the 1980s, but he was released in 1990 and didn't pass away until 2013. Lots of people remember Jiffy Peanut Butter, which doesn't exist. Many people believe the song We Are the Champions by Queen ends with Of the World, but it doesn't.
We are the champions of the world. Sure it does.
Nope. Or the movie where Sinbad played a genie that he never played. Or the Monopoly Man wearing a monocle, which he never wore. Mandela effects are most likely people simply misremembering. But there is a theory that in another universe, people actually eat Jiffy peanut butter. They eat Cheez-Its, when in our universe, Cheez-Its are called Cheez-It, with no S.
Wait, Cheez-It with no S, that can't be right.
It's right.
I'm a wheel of cheese.
Got a point.
Yeah. Cheez-It, cheesy, crunchy satisfaction.
I know, it's uncomfortable. Science fiction author Philip K. Dick also believed in alternate realities that could bleed into ours. He wrote science fiction classics that were turned into movies like Blade Runner, Total Recall, Minority Report. He also wrote The Man in the High Castle, which is an alternate history novel. Now, in the book, the Allies lost World War II, and the Japanese and Nazi forces occupied the United States. But Philip Dick said he didn't just invent this idea. He said he lived it. He said he had visions of this other reality where Hitler won the war.
It did not take me long to open the question as to whether it might not be more than that. That in fact plural realities did exist, superimposed onto one another like so many film transparencies. I wrote both novels based on fragmentary residual memories of such a horrid slave state world.
He also believed these parallel universes were actually parallel computer simulations.
We are living in a computer-programmed reality, and the only clue we have to it is when some variable is changed and some alteration in our reality occurs.
He felt that the computer program, which is our reality, is constantly being updated, and each update is an improvement on the last version, like patching software. So his vision of Hitler winning the war really happened. But the programmer, who he calls God, patched our reality. That software patch resulted in Hitler's defeat. Philip Dick says that déjà vu is a momentary glitch in our program where variables are changed and a software patch is applied. He also says that Mandela effects, though they weren't called that at the time, are real memories that are carried over from a different reality.
One thing I really want you to know, I am aware that the claims I am making, claims of having retrieved buried memories of an alternate present and to have perceived the agency responsible for arranging that alternation, these claims can neither be proved nor can they be even made to sound rational in the usual sense of the word.
He tells a quick story about how he had this feeling that a woman with dark hair was going to show up at his door with important information. Then she did. And although she was a complete stranger, he felt like he knew her. And she went on to tell him that she read all of his novels. And although he didn't know it when he was writing them, he was writing about a different but very real timeline.
That is that my book, like his, was in a certain real, literal, and physical sense, not fiction, but the truth.
Have you ever met someone for the first time who felt somehow familiar? That's because you know them or knew them in a different reality. Or have you had déjà vu? That's because a variable in the program was changed, and it's a variable about you and your life. Have you ever felt comfortable in a new city? I have. It's because you've been there before, just in a different reality or universe or program. Have you ever had a dream about living a past life, or gone under hypnosis to try and access a past life? Well, according to Philip K. Dick, those aren't past lives at all. Your past lives are present lives. You're living them right now. But those experiences are walled off from your current perception of reality. But they're all out there in a different dimension. We talked about Nikolai Kozyrev, who believed that time isn't linear. There's no past, present, or future. Everything happens all at once, but in dimensions we can't perceive. Hugh Everett...
Just think. What if our reality all clashed and, you met yourself? You know what I'm saying? Different versions of you. What would you do? Leave a comment, man. You know what I'm saying? Let me know. What would you
also believed everything happens all at once. Every possible outcome of every choice does happen, but also in dimensions that we can't perceive. Both of these men proposed theories that were considered science fiction at the time, but eventually mainstream scientists started finding clues that they were onto something. And it may turn out that Kozyrev and Everett's theories of the universe were ahead of their time, which is an ironic statement. Because if they're right about the universe and time, that would mean, in both cases, there's no such thing. Why are we so obsessed with alternate realities? Why do parallel universes show up in science fiction over and over again? I think the idea of other realities coexisting with our own is more than just a fun idea. I think each of us takes the idea very personally. Our fascination with parallel universes is all about choices. Hugh Everett says that every time a choice is made, a new universe or timeline branches off, each one with a different result of that choice. So when we talk about how there's a universe out there where you're a movie star or the President of the United States, the many worlds hypothesis says that not only is that possible, it's the truth. Who you are today is just the result of the thousands of choices that you've made throughout your life. So there's a reality out there where you made the right combination of choices to become an astronaut, or the combination of choices to become a Nobel Prize-winning scientist who cures cancer. There's a reality where you made the right combination of choices to put yourself in a warehouse, working as a detective searching for a body. There's a combination of choices where you're the serial killer in that warehouse hiding the body. And there's even a reality where your choices made it so you're the body. And even though we may not think of life this way, we're still aware of it on some level. It's very natural from time to time to find yourself asking, what if? What if I studied more in school? What if I married my high school sweetheart? Or what if I left that abusive relationship sooner? It's only natural to wonder what our life would be like if we made different choices. Now, it's fun to think about the choices that would have made us a rock star or a professional baseball player. But don't get too hung up on that, because there is that reality where you're the body in the warehouse. So it's fine to fantasize about a life you could have had, but don't let the fantasy turn into regret. If you're happy with your life, even if it's not perfect, you've made good choices, and be satisfied with that. And if you're not happy with your life, don't dwell on the past and the mistakes you've made and what could have been. Because until your life is over, you'll have the opportunity to make a lot more choices. And every time you have to make a decision, whether a big one or a small one, think about this episode. Think about the butterfly effect. You never know how a decision now can change your life forever. And you don't have the luxury of alternate realities. Your choices only affect this one, and every choice could be important. Choose wisely. President Kennedy engaged in secret peace talks with Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev. They discussed cooperation, not confrontation. They talked about ending the Cold War. Kennedy even proposed a joint U.S.-Soviet space program to explore the moon together.
Oh, the Russians would have liked the weather in Burbank when they filmed that.
Not now, please. To prove his commitment to peace, Kennedy made a gesture of ultimate trust. He decided to reveal America's most protected secret.
Why hot dogs come in packs of 10, but buns only come in packs of 8?
No.
How to fold the face sheet?
No.
What's really in a McRib?
No. He wanted to declassify all UFO files. On November 12, 1963, just 10 days before his death, Kennedy issued 2 memos. The first was National Security Action Memorandum 271.
I have initiated a program for the orderly declassification of all UFO intelligence files affecting national security. I have instructed the CIA director to prepare a program for the sharing of this data with NASA, where it can be put to use in the context of the space and lunar exploration program.
The second memo was classified top secret. Kennedy sent it directly to the director of the CIA.
Furthermore, I have requested that the CIA develop a program of substantive cooperation with the Soviet Union in the field of outer space, including the development of specific technical proposals. I have asked the CIA to work closely with the Department of State and other agencies as appropriate in developing this program.
To former CIA Director Allen Dulles, who Kennedy had fired after the Bay of Pigs disaster, this wasn't diplomacy, it was treason. Dulles had overseen the UFO cover-up since 1947. He'd investigated the Maury Island incident. He knew what technology the government had recovered from alien craft. Kennedy was demanding access to the biggest secret in human history, and he planned to share it with America's enemy. Ending the Cold War might be good for humanity, but it was bad for business. The defense industry was already furious with John F. Kennedy. He awarded the largest defense deal in history to General Dynamics. Everyone expected it to go to Boeing, the cornerstone of the military-industrial complex. But because of JFK, Boeing and its network of powerful allies had just lost a fortune.
Especially all the people in Congress who bought Boeing stock ahead of the announcement.
No doubt about that. Jim Garrison did some more digging. He found that Boeing used to have an employee they called a chaos agent. The man allegedly committed corporate espionage. He spread disinformation. He even killed people on behalf of the company. And that chaos agent was Fred Chrisman.
Chrisman is a former employee of the Boeing company. In intelligence terminology, this ordinarily means that the connection still exists, but that the former employee has moved into an underground operation. Chrisman has been engaged in undercover activity for a part of the industrial warfare complex for years.
The cabal assembled the team. CIA operatives, mobsters, Cuban exiles, businessmen like Clay Shaw brought in locals like David Ferry and Guy Bannister. And the man nobody talks about but who shows up everywhere is Fred Chrisman. The network that silenced Harold Dahl was activated again. But this time they needed someone to take the fall, someone with the perfect background to be blamed. And that man was Lee Harvey Oswald. Oswald had served as an aviation electronics operator in the Marines. In 1957, he was stationed at Naval Air Facility Atsugi in Japan, one of the most secret bases in the world, home of the U-2 spy plane program developed at Area 51. Oswald worked on the radar systems with crypto clearance. He tracked U-2 flights. He knew their flight patterns, altitudes, and capabilities. And 2 years after Oswald left Atsugi, the Soviets shot down a U-2 over Russia. The man accused of killing the president had direct access to America's most sensitive technology, and somehow the Soviets got that same information. The assassination of John F. Kennedy was a coup, designed to protect the biggest secret in human history. We were just weeks away from ending the Cold War and full UFO disclosure. But
all of that ended on the 22nd of November, 1963.
Anybody know what's happening? You guys know? Holy crap, it's like...
So I want y'all to take a look at this. Look at this in the sky right here. It is next to the moon. And what does that look like? Right there next to the moon. I think I'm tripping. Alright, check this out. Check this out. I'm gonna zoom in, I'm zooming in, and what is that? It's now dead center in the moon. Come on, camera. Straighten out. Straighten out.
Wow, this is ridiculously awesome. This is a brand new image of what's said to be 3I Atlas taken by a rover from the surface of Mars. It's almost like Earth's got our own little paparazzi up there catching an interstellar visitor creeping by. However, 3I Atlas may not actually look like this image, and here's why. So NASA's Perseverance rover captured this image on October 4th using its onboard nav cam. Shortly after it was released, Representative Anna Paulina Luna shared a post on socials saying that she'd spoken directly with Dr. Avi Loeb about this image. And according to Loeb, this image is claimed to be from the Perseverance rover on Mars. If real, the elongated cylinder could be caused by smearing due to a long exposure time of the camera as the source moves across the Martian sky. And it'll keep us updated. So what we're seeing may not actually be 100% accurate. We may be seeing that motion blur of the object moving across the frame. I mean, this particular image is drastically different looking than an image taken by the creator named Dobsonian.
Oh my god,
That's straight up, you guys. I told you.
Oh, what the fuck that is, man?
Stupid.
Guys, this is me filming. This is not Photoshop.
Plenty more content that I'll be throwing out. You know, I'm getting new at this, but greater when it gets later. And I hope that y'all tune in